And this is a sedan chair, apparently the Empress's, and all these chairs and carriages had specific functions and very tightly prescribed design regulations, if you will. It just occurred to me that it seems that the ancient dictators of power, absolute power, in their lives degenerated down to such a strict set of rules that it almost seems somehow analogous to what we call instinct in animals. This room, which I'm panning at the speed of light right now, is again a repository for some of the huge amounts of ceramic that China is and has been famous for. I'll just pick up on those that seem unique. Fish handles bears a closer look. Remember the huge numbers of craftsmen, of the best quality craftsmen and materials were marshaled for the whims of the emperors. It's just one main example of the artifacts of this incredibly long, varied culture and history that we as Americans simply cannot empathize with, because we haven't had that history. The glass here is very dirty. Here's something I have not yet seen before. They are drums, but they, I think, are made of stone. Whether they were used as seats or just icons of a history of drums, I don't know. Here an inner courtyard, or not an inner courtyard, but one between two buildings, and exposure to, I think that may be the original wall. But I'm guessing this is an interior wall to the main wall, just separating complexes within it. Here, apparently, the emperors created these allusions to mountainous. This is the Empress Dowager Cixi. This is either an execution or a public humiliation. Oh, this was some kind of pipe, I'm guessing. Huh. Main palace, which is on a hill, probably for the views and just that much greater coolness. And now we drop down to a huge lake level. So from here you can see that we're right here. So I guess I'll wander along through here, see what this is all about, then wander about in through there. So I'm going to go straight ahead to the Fragrant Garden house, and then Ruyi Island. Tells us that the Fragrant Garden was built in 1703 for the storage of silver, porcelain, silk, jewelry, and other items. It's the largest royal warehouse in the mountain resort. I mean, there are more. Eunuchs acted as bartender to entertain the emperor and his imperial concubines. Man, would I like to have been a fly on the wall in that place. When the bar was open at the beginning, the cargo planes were full of beautiful goods. All nobility were competing to buy. And just to illustrate the Chinese sense of humor, where do you see this little toy? Woohoo! Again, the emperor would shudder in his robes to see what has happened to his beloved retreat. So this is number 27 of the Emperor's 36 choice spots for views. You can imagine that the attendants to the emperors were always ever ready to aggrandize anything and everything he did, as we did with the great rulers, quote unquote on the word great, of Europe, and not to mention the pharaohs. It occurred to me that while I impliedly, if not directly, malign the super dictators of the past, it occurred to me a moment ago sitting there that perhaps that power accretes to those people because we have some innate desire to lavish all kinds of fantasy and imaginations of power and protection on anything, a god or an emperor, which is why oftentimes those personages have both attributes, divine and temporal. Here's another pretty little side pond, now pretty much filled in with stuff, and sure enough the emperor has created two more points of great vision or scene. And then go over and watch the man work his bullwhip or whatever it is. Here are a two-story building that looks too new to have been original, but perhaps it is a recreation. A man walked by who's one of the cleanup guys and said hello, and I said hello, and he said, "I love you," and I go, "Really?" I'm not sure he knew what he said. On the other hand, he did have an effeminate characteristic to him that was evident. Here's a beautiful channel, choked now with vegetation, but I wonder if at one time it was clear enough for the emperors to boat through. My guess is that it was, and that perhaps instead of this cement bridge was one of the beautiful bridges.